Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to JPIC Radio. Today we have a very special guest once again. It's Mr. Marco Oelschlegel.
Hello.
Marco, you started as a senior marketing manager in August 2005. Then you became deputy director of conventions in November 2017, to then become the director of conventions in January 2020. All this at Visit Berlin, Berlin Convention Office. So you've been with them for 17 years and 9 months.
Yeah, can you imagine this? Yeah, it's a long time. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, if I do something I love, I can imagine doing it for this long. So can you please tell us what is your role in this organization and what is the goal or the mission of Visit Berlin?
Our mission is to promote Berlin as a meeting and convention destination and also for destination for tourism. So we are the official organization. We work on behalf of the city and all our partners of the industry to make more people enthusiastic about Berlin and to make them to bring their events to Berlin. This is our role, specifically at the Berlin Convention Office, which is a department of Visit Berlin. And so we go to the world and spread the word on Berlin.
When we decided to bring the Jigsaw Puzzle International Convention to Berlin, we realized that there were many very interesting venues over here. And some colleagues that work in the event industry told us that Berlin was an incredible host city. Now, what, in your opinion, makes Berlin so special to host conventions?
I mean, there's the infrastructure, definitely. So on the technical side, we have it all. We have the really big convention centers like the Estrel, where we are here now, also the Messe, but also a lot of smaller, mid-sized meeting venues. And so technically, yes, we have the infrastructure, but also, in addition, it's a very attractive city, I think. Many people, when we talk about Berlin, they say, oh, great, oh, I like the city. And I think this combination between German efficiency in a way, that German, everything works and is organized and so on, and this specific atmosphere in Berlin, which is open-minded, very much different than you would think is the stereotype of Germany. I think this is the secret maybe of the success of Berlin as a convention destination as well.
Yes, this is definitely one of the most tolerant cities in Europe. It's very cosmopolitan. For example, the Turkish community is huge. A lot of foreigners mixing up here, and everybody is so kind and so nice and so relaxed.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we're enjoying it tremendously. The amount now. Coming to a convention, as we say, is always an opportunity to discover a new city. And in the case of Berlin, it's stunning how many places, monuments, and landscapes there are, landmarks there are to visit.
There is, I think, Berlin, and we say it's the world of Berlin, and this is our claim also, visit the world of Berlin or meet in the world of Berlin. It's a world on its own. I think there are so many districts, neighborhoods, areas, also people from different world cultures and so on. So it's a really varied destination and city.
Yeah, so. I found that the architecture in Berlin or in Germany in general is very different from the architecture in the rest of Europe. Very different from France, very different from Spain. You have your particular cachet, and it's to me impressive.
I think it's the beauty of Europe in a way that each country is in a way different, have their specific atmosphere, culture, whatsoever.
Well said. That's indeed very true. Berlin's no exception. It's fabulous here. Now, when it comes to the convention business, what is the core of the business here? Do you tend to attract more corporate conventions? Is it more local convention, or do you have a lot of international visitors as well?
I mean, Berlin, being capital city of Germany, which is one of the biggest countries here, or populated countries here in Europe, as you know, we have a very big domestic market. So many meetings come from Germany, both corporate and associations. Many of them are related, of course, to the function as a capital city, so they want to be next or near the government, to invite all the politicians and so on. But at the same time, it's very popular, of course, internationally. If you consider it, or look at the ICA statistics, these statistics which counts the association meetings coming to a city. We are among the top 5 and have been there over the last 20 years. So international, it's great. It's renowned for its convention facilities and as a convention destination. So in a way, it's both. It's a corporate, more and more corporate destination, an association destination, and also for those who come here for political or governmental reasons.
Yes, interesting. So the pandemic hit everybody really hard, especially for 2 years. How did the convention business in Germany rebound after the convention? How strong is it currently?
I mean, it's not back to what we saw in 2019, but it's strong, getting back very strongly, and we see a really big push. Maybe not back, because it's a different development, but we see a lot of success. We see a lot of people coming, visiting, or coming for conventions and so on. We see a lot of effects of conventions which would have taken place 2 years ago. They hold then last year or also this year. So we maybe... it depends, 80% whatever you count. But what you hear from hoteliers partners is there's big demand, and this is also what we experience when we go to the clients and see them.
Yeah, that's what we felt also with our main sponsor for the event. They were anxiously awaiting to get back into these events for the networking aspects. And in our case, we're not just a B2B, we're a B2C convention, which is pretty rare, because most conventions like the Toy Fair that takes place in Germany, it's one of the biggest in the world, they only allow B2B discussions, and people cannot actually purchase anything there. It's only for demonstration purposes, and they have to order online or buy in the shop. So what is the main argument for a company to actually do a convention? What are the benefits?
In presence, you mean?
Yes.
Or in general? I mean, we are, as human beings, we want to meet people, I think, and we want to meet people in person. Since we started at the campfires or whatsoever, sitting around at the end of a day, talking about a day, what we hunted and so on. I think this is in our DNA, that we want to meet people. And we've learned a lot during the pandemic, that it's possible to meet virtually as well and to do this and that. And yes, there is a reason for that, but as you said, networking is something which is really hard to copy or to replace by a virtual tool or something like this. And this is why I would, if this is your goal, that you want to bring people together, create networks, strengthen networks, then my recommendation would be to hold a convention and to meet in person.
Well, I couldn't agree more. If I'm in this business, it's because I'm a people person, and there's nothing like face-to-face, whether it's in business or friendship activities, anything. But nowadays, people are more on their phones, tablets, video games. Get out of the house a bit. Come to the Jigsaw Puzzle Convention in Berlin, and you're going to enjoy being part of a community and sharing a passion with other people who are like-minded. And this is the exact same principle as things like scuba diving, golf, other activities where when you get into something similar, or somebody in their professional network working in the same line of business, like for now there's a telecom convention happening here with a big company. So the second that you have something in common with somebody else, conversations just blossom and it becomes very interesting.
Oh, in addition, also, even if you don't know this person and just meet them at a coffee table or dinner or whatsoever, sit next to each other and just find out, oh wow, we have so much in common. We share the same interests, which maybe not have anything to do with the convention, but this creates also new connections which you can't have not easily, maybe not at all, by virtual meetings or conventions. And even, for example, if you do e-gaming and so on, it's amazing what the developments have been in this sector. But at the same time, doing a puzzle, whatsoever, present on a table, sharing together, you can have discussions on different other things, which maybe not so easy in an online world.
It's true, because even when we take video games now, they're doing these esports conventions, and they're filling up stadiums,
Right,
and the
that's
prizes are in the millions of dollars. There was poker at one time, but now it's become like this. And well, we're developing a concept for speed puzzling in the esports domain as well. Although I don't know, besides your fingers, how tired you get doing this. Yeah, maybe you can tell us. It's does it help? Do you have to work your mind a lot when you're puzzling? How stressful is it on the mind?
It's not stressful at all.
Oh, she said not stressful at all. It's very slow. By the way, that's Karen, our CEO, back there.
And I think there's a justification for both, or reason for both, isn't it? I mean, there are people who would like to do it online, and they should do it. But at the same time, there's a big reason, I think, to do it also present.
Yeah. So
at the table.
Your role at Visit Berlin, but also the role of Visit Berlin is you're specifically in the convention sector. So in what way does your organization help companies? What are the methods and the tools that you use to help promote these conventions and promote Berlin at the same time?
Well, first of all, we have a big network here in Berlin. We have a network in the MICE, in the meetings industry here, but also beyond, to the stakeholders, to political institutions whatsoever. And we are there to put you in contact with them, to help you to raise your goals, reach your goals. This is what you can do, network you. We have also a large, of course, or many channels with a large audience, touristic channels, social media channels. We do press work a lot, so we work through these channels also on promoting the destination, but also the main events taking place there.
So you're promoting Berlin to other Germans, or you're specifically targeting the international community to come and visit Berlin?
I mean, if you talk about Berlin Convention Office, and it's of course the convention sector. So our first goal is of course to attract those who haven't been with the convention to Berlin or want to come to Berlin, and convince them to come to Berlin. So this is more B2B approach.
Okay.
And then the second part of our company, which looks rather to the leisure department, or also the B2C channels. They of course they speak not only to international visitors coming here to Berlin, but also those who live here or are German. So we have of course several languages in this sector. And for example, specifically for a convention like this, for example, we have an event calendar which lists all the events taking place, or most of the events.
Yes, and we're on it.
We are on it.
We're on it.
So people living here, for example, in Berlin, they take advantage of this as well, because they get inspiration what to do next weekend or in 1 month's time. So have a look, visit berlin.de, you find the event calendar there and also your event. And then from there you can get directly to your webpage and get some tickets or whatever information,
When we take of the history of marketing, because basically your role is a marketing role,
right.
I can put it this way. The way that marketing has evolved over the years, we're going more and more towards online medium. Could you talk a bit about that? How do you see this evolving? Is most of your effort now on social media and on the internet, and where do you see it going a bit in the future?
Looking back, I mean, you said I've been there for 70 years now. Only 70 years. When I started, one of our tasks was to get our event planner's guide, which was a booklet, for example,
the yellow
paper,
pages, or
like the yellow pages, and we got already emails by the time, but we got requests for this booklet, and then we put it, and we made a parcel out of it and sent it by post, by post services to this person, which took a long time. It was slower. It was this way, and of course this has emerged a lot. It doesn't exist anymore as a paperback, for example. It's all online. We have a meeting planners guide online, and social media took, when did Twitter started? 2007, I think, and we have an account on LinkedIn and on Twitter, and this works very, very well. And in our B2C communication, we also use Instagram and other social medias, and this is the main way to spread the word in the way, apart from the personal contact, which still remains really important.
I think that in these mediums anyways, it's the same tactic for everybody. You actually have to create these groups, and then you have to build your following, and then you're addressing your following. Reaching outside of it is more challenging, but that's the secret. It's with time, taking your time and building your subscriber base, and keep posting every day. But the good part is that in your case, you always have plenty of content, because how many conventions actually take place in Berlin every year?
Thousands of conventions, really. I mean, and smaller, big ones, and so on. I think visitor-wise, I mean, we just get the convention statistics, the official one, in the next weeks.
Okay.
So I can tell you more about it maybe during your conference, which really was the number last year. But I'm sure it looks quite similar to those which we had in 2018, 19, and then we had more than, thousands of events and also visitors, of course, because...
So we did our first convention in Las Vegas in July 2022, and Las Vegas, it was at the Las Vegas Convention Center, and it's a place that's renowned for the Consumer Electronics Show and the NAB show, the NAB show, National Association of Broadcasters. What's the highlight in Berlin? What's the biggest convention that actually happens here?
I mean, we have conventions taking place during our trade shows, the really big trade shows, which are the Agriculture Week, which is the biggest show on agriculture in the world. And there's always a convention connected, of course, political meetings and so on taking place in January. Then we have in February the film festival, which is one of the 3 big film festivals in the world.
So you're competing with Cannes?
Cannes and Venice.
Wow.
These are the 3 biggest, the A level, so-called A level, and it's the biggest public film festival as well, because...
how many visitors do you hit usually in these conventions? Over 100,000, I suppose, easily.
Yeah. Because we have, Venice and, for example, Cannes, they only have screenings for the B2B screenings. Yeah. However, we have also for the public, for the audience, so the normal, for you, for me, for anybody. So it's a very popular event. We also get a lot of visitors just coming for the film festival there. So this is one, and then in March it goes on with the International Tourism Fair, which is also one of the biggest one in the world. Wow. And the IFA, the Consumer Electronics Show, we have also now taking place in September. And they're all connected, of course, to conventions, and especially this year, for example, in October there's the European Association of Dermatology, and they're coming here with several thousand people. We have some quite unique things. For example, we are broadcasting here from Estrel Berlin Hotel and Convention Center, and one of their biggest convention here is actually coin collectors, les numismates, coin stamps and things like that. So I think there's a convention for absolutely everything. For everything, every profession, every fruit, every disease, anything. Yeah. I think that's really amazing, and this opens your horizon so much. I think. That's why you, after 17 years, I can't even think that you're bored in your job, because you always discover something new. Yeah, and we're new as well. Like yours. Can you believe there's never been a Jigsaw Puzzle International Convention in the history of the world? We were the first ones to come up with this. So how could it be, Yes. And it's a tremendous success, because there's so many people interested in this game. Is it a game? How would you describe? Is it a game, or is it rather how would you describe it? Well, during the convention, our convention is not as much a vendor's convention as it is a jigsaw puzzle theme park. So it's an amusement park for the public. So people come to do jigsaw puzzle speed puzzling competitions in singles, pairs, and teams. There's an ultimate challenge where we're going to do the 40,000 piece Disney puzzle with a team of puzzlers and try to
beat a world record by doing it as fast as we can within the 3 days and try to complete it. In Vegas, we did a 56,000 piece puzzle.
Incredible. How long does it take?
Well,
What did it take?
they completed, what's the percentage they completed in Vegas, Guy?
They completed about 55% of it.
Okay, 55%. And we had how many participants?
900 hours and over a little bit over 60 participants.
Okay.
on
That's
3 days.
60
amazing,
participants, 900 hours.
Yeah.
So we need much more people in Berlin to get this done. So people can just go on our website, they
Yeah.
register. And what's great is they paid a cheap entry fee. It's $29.95 for a ticket
Oh,
for
that's
1 day,
great. Yeah.
or $49.95 for 3 days. So it's about 17 euros per day. But they get to participate to one competition per day for free. And the puzzle, which is a 500-piece puzzle that they do, they get to keep it and bring it home. That puzzle is already worth 25 euros. So
Wow,
then they participate in all the other activities for free. So we have an arts and crafts section, which is called Become an Illustrator. We're provided with blank jigsaw puzzles, and people can paint it, draw, decorate it any way they want. And they can expose it and take it home as a souvenir. And we have also a section called Pieces of Berlin, or Pieces of Germany. Sorry, Pieces of Germany. Oh yes, because in the US we had Pieces of Las Vegas, because there are so many puzzles out there about Las Vegas. But in this case, it's Pieces of Germany. So we invite puzzlers to come to this section, grab a puzzle of Germany of their choice, and just to sit down, chill, relax, and do it. And this way they discover the monuments and the landscape of Germany while puzzling. So during the convention, we always have this section to promote the city in which we work. And also an important thing that we do is that every place where we do a convention, we give back to the local community. So we always support a local nonprofit organization or foundation to raise funds. So, for example, in Vegas, it was the New Horizons Academy, K-12 teaching for autistic children. So we were supporting autism education, subject that is close to me because I have an autistic child. So it's close to my heart. So we're looking forward to supporting also to doing a fundraising for
Initiative here in Berlin.
Yep, a foundation here. Actually, not in Berlin. We're going to support a foundation in Stuttgart.
In Stuttgart, yeah.
Yes. There's this, I met this gentleman called Marcus. He started this foundation. He bought an old train station. And that train station was a secret location from 1936 right up to 1996, because it was the place where the V1 and V2 rockets of Werner von Braun were being tested. So he bought this old train station, which is a historic monument, and it's protected as a monument by, I don't know what you call the office in Germany that protects historical monuments. And he's, out of his own hands, he is restoring this building, and he's going to turn it into a place where families that have children with very special, particular, unique diseases can, place their child for a few days, and the families can, get a break and get some support. Right. He himself has a child that has a very particular disease with an issue in his chromosomes, one chromosome that's been modified. It's extremely rare. There's maybe like 200 cases or 180 cases in the whole world. But there is demand for this. Even if it's a little number, these families need support. So there's always something that's fabulous that we can do in this aspect.
Yeah. Also something new every time, maybe.
Yes, absolutely.
To learn about,
yeah. So he has on his board of directors, researchers, and important people stepping on board. So we thought that would be quite interesting, because I'm pretty sure that even families in Berlin would be able to solicitate the help in Stuttgart.
Yeah.
How far is everything now?
And it's also connected in a way to Berlin, as it's such a scientific center as well, or medical center here, research of medicine and so on here in Berlin.
Absolutely. So, besides, so when we talk about the convention aspect, and you're looking to attract businesses and B2B, etc., but one thing that's also fascinating to do when you come to all these conventions is the number of museums in Berlin.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I went to the what was it called?
Computerspiele Museum, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah,
oh, my. That was incredible.
It's a new edition. Well, kind of new edition. Over a couple of years ago, only opened, but
a lot of things in Berlin. It's like a time machine. We found these video games right down from 1975 up to today. They have them all, even the virtual reality headsets now. But we found every single old video game and computer in that museum. It was incredible. It was something that, gets your emotional memory. And these are things that we don't find anywhere else. What's so special about Berlin?
Because it attracts so many different people, I think. People with different ideas, with different interests whatsoever. And they come here and they say, it's a place where I can be myself and open the business I would like to open, which I'm maybe not can open in a different other city. So
how much government support do companies actually get here? Because we're always talking about this competition between European countries where, all governments are trying to subsidize startups and technology and development and trying to attract companies. What's happening here in Germany in that sense?
I mean, it's a specific theme, and especially very important here in Berlin. And it's one of the big startup hubs in Europe as well.
Okay.
And I think it's not only that they get some subsidies or whatsoever, it's also, I think, the atmosphere itself. Many people come here because they want to live here, because they can be yourself, this specific atmosphere, what I said. And then they think, okay, but let's do a business as well. And then they get, of course, support from the federal, not the federal government, but we are like Canada, a federal country.
Yes.
And each federal state has its own subsidy scheme, or even some city have different ones. So Berlin is also a federal district, so it's a federal state on its own. So I think it's both. It's very much the atmosphere of Berlin that they come here. And this is why we have also more fintechs than in Frankfurt, which is obviously the financial center of Germany, but the fintechs are concentrated here. And they want to live here. And prices are growing as well and going up over the last years. It used to be very, very affordable, and now it's a little bit less, but it's covered and by the other advantages.
We're talking about the liquidity crunch and also the inflation that's going up very strongly. How do you see it affecting Berlin currently?
I mean, it has been a really big challenge over the last 1 year, since the war started, the horrible war in Ukraine. We see at the moment that it's getting a bit weaker, but still it's a challenge. And this is, of course, something which reflects very much in our industry as well, and prices are rising and everything. Hopefully it will, economists say it's getting better next year or over the next months and by next year. So hopefully we can see more affordable prices then also next year.
Yeah, I didn't find it that bad up to now. There's more expensive elsewhere.
Of course. It's always, as Albert Einstein said, who also worked in Berlin. Everything is relative,
Exactly.
And compared to this city, maybe it's really, really expensive. But compared to other cities, I mean, it's compared to other main capital cities in Europe, it's still an affordable city, I think.
Yeah, like you can have a little bit more taxes, but the benefits that you're getting from these taxes over here, it's it's quite unbelievable. I was so surprised. Well, so surprised. I kind of knew it already, but to see it in reality, because it's my first time in Berlin as well, how clean the city is compared to other cities. Like, I won't compare it with Italy because that's a disaster. Berlin is really clean. People are quite respectful. And
And at the same time, you will find people who say, "Oh, it's not so clean," and other cities are cleaner. But it's I thank you for this feedback.
Yes. So can we maybe hope to have you on center stage as a speaker during our convention? During the convention, yeah.
Yes. Well, I'm happy to join you there. Yeah, if you like.
Karin, we're going to have to put him in the schedule because it would be fantastic for him to talk to the public and surely take some of their questions and interact with.
It's definitely a great convention, and thank you for coming to Berlin, by the way. And maybe I can tell you something when I mentioned this that we met last week.
Yes.
Here in person, and when I came back and told it to some friends and colleagues, I found out so many enthusiasts on Jigsaw puzzles, which I didn't know at all. And when I just said, well, I was here and you're coming here, they were so excited. And I was really fascinated how many people are excited and fascinated about puzzles, isn't it? So it's really interesting.
Yes, well, it's kind of a tight-knit community of very passionate people. And we can talk about hours of like all the benefits of puzzling, but these are things that we are going to discuss during the convention. It delays Alzheimer's, so a lot of senior citizens could do it. It brings a lot of advantages, for example, to somebody who's going through a cancer. You're battling cancer, doing chemotherapy, puzzling keeps you concentrated. Time goes by, you don't see it goes by, and it gives you a very interesting activity. And you have such a variety of illustrations, of images. It could be nature, animals, or landscapes, or all sorts of, you have jigsaw puzzles where it's just covered in jujubes and candies, and others where it's the African savannah, or another it could be a monument like the Brandenburg Gate. So there's something for everybody in there.
And I can imagine that over the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, during the pandemic, it has risen as well.
Considerably.
The demand, no?
Yes, the growth was exponential. We're talking a growth of 885%.
800%?
Yes, it was colossal. After the pandemic, of course, there was a little bit of a decline, but we're looking of a CAGR, the year-over-year growth, which is pretty big. I don't want to give numbers that I'm not sure of, but we're looking at a constant growth till 2025. That's looking pretty good, because those who discovered it, even though they might do less because now they're back at work, but once you get into it, you get kind of addicted.
Right. I was at Christmas 2019. It was one of my gifts. A gift to me, a puzzle, and I did it. It was a Berlin puzzle. So it ticks all your boxes.
Let me guess. Ravensburger.
I have to double check. Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe it's also Berlin. I think it's a producer from Berlin, because maybe they've produced something directly from Berlin.
It could be. You have many interesting puzzle companies in Germany.
It's a plan of the public transport system of Berlin, and so I made it. I put it on my table, and then pandemic came, and there was a discussion where to have my home office place, and then it served as my pad, for my computer, and it's still there. So I still, every time I see a puzzle in front of me when I'm working from home, which is rare nowadays. But so there's a connection, a personal connection to me as well.
Marco, I learned something about you like a few minutes before we started this. You speak so many languages. How many languages do you speak?
Well, a couple of, maybe 4 or 5 or something like this. Yeah.
Okay, 4 is 2 couples. 5 is 2 couples and a half.
Well, English, French, Spanish, I think I can communicate, and then there's a few others which I can kind of understand.
Let's
and
talk to our Spanish public.
Uh-huh.
Huh?
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Señores y caballeros de España o de América del Sur, os invitamos que vienen a Berlín para la Convención Internacional de Rompecabezas.
Rompecabezas, sí.
Rompecabezas.
Sí. Fue una de las películas que he visto una vez en una de los Berlinales, una película de Argentina que se llamaba Rompecabezas. Y por eso aprendí esta palabra, muy interesante.
Quizá tengo que verla.
Sí, pero bienvenido y que vengan. Y sí, es una ciudad también interesante para vosotros. Tenemos muchos turistas hispanohablantes también.
En España hay mucha gente que les gustan puzzles.
Ah, sí.
Y sí, hay una federación de World Jigsaw Puzzle Federation en España. Sí, y cuando hacen la competición anual, ¿tienes 500 o 600? 500, 600 people?
600 in the individuals category max.
600 personas en la categoría individual. Entonces, sí, por aquí, por favor.
Sí, por aquí.
Que pasen por Berlín.
A Berlín.
Sí. Vous parlez français aussi?
Je le parle un peu, oui.
Ah,
c'est ça.
Eh bien, la population française aussi est très intéressée.
Oui.
Et du fait que ce sont des pays limitrophes partageant une frontière avec l'Allemagne,
Oui,
c'est facile pour en Europe. Pour
Oui.
quelques euros, on prend un avion et on est là.
On a ou même un train maintenant, parce que, bon, pas encore, mais il y aura un train direct avec Paris, qui lie la ville de Paris et Berlin.
Le TGV?
Non, c'est pas le TGV, c'est un train nocturne à partir de novembre, je pense,
Wow.
qui lie tous les deux villes directement. Et à part ça, bien sûr, il y a l'avion, il y a...
Ça, c'est une très bonne
direct.
nouvelle pour l'avenir parce qu'on a l'intention de faire cette convention de manière annuelle à Berlin.
Ah, très bien.
Yeah, this will be
Excellent
an annual
idée.
event in Berlin. This is the only exception in our calendar because we hop around all over the world. We're going to go to Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, then we're
Right.
going to Sao Paulo in Brazil, then maybe go to New York eventually if we go back to the States later.
Bienvenido en Berlin, yeah.
Yeah, so in the moment, Berlin, May 17, 18, 19, Estrel Convention Center. You could meet this fabulous gentleman.
And
Marco will be
Alexandra.
here. Oh yes, and Karin,
And Karim.
who likes hiding behind the camera. And we can be your tour guides because we've been here for almost a month and we've discovered some fantastic things.
Great.
Marco, thank you very much for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see you at the convention.
See you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and see you in the next episode of JPIC Radio.
Auf Wiedersehen.